Shari. She's funny. She has a resting face. And she don't like people, but she's so funny and loving when you get to know her. But you have to get to know her.
She's unintentionally sarcastic. Like, she doesn't know that she's being sarcastic. It's just like, when we're having normal conversations, she'd be like, oh, that was so funny.
She's funny. She's outgoing.
She's a wonderful kid.
She's spirited. She's very honest to a fault sometimes. That girl, she gets on my nerves, but I honestly love her. This morning, she popped off on me because I stole some of her clothes.
Loves to f***ing eat home cooked meals. Loves fish and grits. Yes, she does.
Very guarded on her feelings, and that's inside and outside of the house. She's not an emotional type of person. It takes a lot to get her emotions out. Kashari first got sick in Okinawa, Japan. I was active duty Air Force in Okinawa, and Kashari was 3 years old at the time, and she went to daycare, and they sent her home because she had a fever.
And we noticed she had a little jaundice in her eyes. Took her to the doctor. And that's when they determined she had a problem with her liver. And it went downhill from there.
They couldn't do anything in Okinawa, so they would send us to Hawaii. So from Hawaii, that happened maybe 2 days later from the time we took her to the emergency room. So they tested the family members. So her father and I were tested. We called other family members to see if they could come be tested. My sister and my father came. Shari found a donor. It was my daddy out of 10 people. We're both a match, but his portion of liver was more sufficient to sustain himself and to get part of his liver.
San Diego, California. February the 10th, 2001 is when we landed. February the 12th, we was on the cutting table. Took half of mine, took hers out, gave her my half, and voila.
I spent about 6 months in California going through rejection after rejection, going through steroids, and she had several funny moments during this medical trauma in her life. She gained a lot of weight, her face was really round, and she was demanding certain things. Like she was demanding, like, I want pancakes, I have to have pancakes.
She just had a little steroids, you know, made her angry as hell. Oh man, she was angry. Now that was adjustment. She get mad about everything, especially food. My baby wanted to fight me over a cheeseburger.
But Shari got really big. She was like, if you've seen Willy Wonka, Blueberry Girl, that's how she looked. It wasn't a joke at that time, but it's really funny now.
And then the medicines that I would take, you know, the side effects, I was very big. I was a fat kid, you know? And I like pancakes and burgers, you know? Delicious.
We went through many ups and downs as a family because Zaisha is only 4 years old and going through these changes also. Like, she was in school and now she's out of school and missing 6 months of education, and it is difficult.
But the kids were very mean though. They teased me. They wouldn't do any group work with me, so the teacher had to do group work with me. That was sad, you know. It doesn't really hurt, but it does hurt. But you learn that life is about pain, sorrow, and happiness. That was real deep. But I know I sound sarcastic, but I got deep right there.
Me and Shari finally went to school, and kids are disrespectful. Kids wouldn't hang out with my sister because she was different. Since she was nasty looking, they wouldn't touch her skin because she had eczema as well. And it was really bad. When she stresses out, it gets bad. So I'm always there to calm her down. That's what I do as a big sister. If my parents aren't there, then I obviously take that role.
Zaisha is my oldest. She takes good care of her baby sister, always did. That's her little pride and joy. Sister drives her crazy, but she loves her to death. Ain't nothing she wouldn't do for her. And ain't nothing her baby sister wouldn't do for her. They close, very close. Just like this family, very close.
Yeah, she's like my second mom, but we're the best of friends. She's my only friend, technically. I have other friends, but you know, my bestest friend that I always go to. It was hard being without her in the hospital. I always missed her. And then I would have to spend my birthdays, holidays, and stuff in the hospital. Who wants to do that without their sister? Their best friend.
I prefer being around your family more than my family. That's because y'all are really old. Your parents are more accepting of the reality that people go through. Like teenagers nowadays, they've been there, they've done that. Like my family, they know about it, but they don't be caring. Like they still just be like, no. And like it's not like open for discussion. Although now that we're older, they're kind of more lenient with it, but we don't have open discussions like your family does.
Your family is very close, and it kind of like, your family reminds me of my family, except where y'all are to the next level. Because my parents have always been very open with me, like, about their past, which hasn't been the best. But now that they are holy and sanctified, it's kind of hard to talk to them about topics that you would talk to your parents about without being judged as harshly.
She transitioned from high school into college. She wanted to follow her big sister, and there was probably no deterring her from that. They're very close, so she wanted to go to Morgan State with Zaisha. Zaisha's become a second mom to her. She really takes a big sister role seriously, and I'm grateful to have my girls so close and to have Kashari have someone to look up to and be close with while she's in her college years.
My sister, she is the best sisters you can have in the, I said sisters, but she is the best sister you can have in the whole wide world. She's great. I remember one time we were walking home from school and I was having another episode and I started like falling to the ground and I couldn't walk anymore. And the walk home was about like 2 miles long, and she ran all the way home, got the bike, and she had to put me on the bike and steady me all the way back home on the bike. What sister does that? She's a superhero, for real. That's when I went to the hospital at night too. I was very sad to leave her because she's the one who saved me that day. Saved me, but you know, she's the best sister. My mommy, I love her very much. She was always there for me. She stayed with me every single time during the hospital. She would hold my hand before I would go into the surgery. And I remember one time, I wasn't fully put to sleep yet, and they had put an IV in, and I was holding her hand. And I had squeezed it really hard because the poke, when they poked me, it hurt really bad. And she was like, "Oh no, you hurt my baby." I think I need to stay in here. And they were like, ma'am, I can still hear. And they're like, ma'am, it's going to be okay. They were like, she was like, no, you heard her. I don't think I should trust you guys. They're like, ma'am, she's in good hands. And then she whispered, I heard her whisper in my ear, I love you. I'll see you soon. It was like one of those movie moments, but it was so cute. And I did see her soon. It felt like probably hours to them, but it was soon to me when I wake up. She was always there when I woke up. And she's always there when I need her. You know, usually my mom is the one to stay in the hospital with me, but one time my dad spent like a couple weeks with me in the hospital. It was a cool, fun weeks. We went to the little play store, well, not play store, the play area with him. You know, he's one of those tough looking dads, and he's sitting there painting with me. I was like, oh, my dad's trying to be helpful and interact with me by painting, because he doesn't paint. And he was terrible. His piggy looked worse than my piggy. So that was fun. I remember that time.